Welcome back to Solidworks tutorial, part 29 of the C8 Corvette, and then this is in Solidworks. Let's just go over a few things that we did last time. So we are trying to work out these surfaces here, and then the last time what we did. What I have did is not really how the surface area should be. If you try to fix it on your own and then maybe save the file where you started, that's good. If you haven't figured it out, then that's fine as well. In this tutorial, we're going to fix that, and we're going to let's just jump into our model here. All right. We are basically the purpose of my channel is that we are learning together surfacing. I'm learning with you, and then we're learning as we go in the same time. Right. So we did the surface here. And obviously this is wrong. We extruded some surfaces here, and this is not how it is actually. This surface here, this is wrong. All right, and this here, all there is wrong as well. We're going to come back here in the future tree, and if you've been following my step-by-step tutorial to get to this far, you must have everything the way I'm having it. Or if you have some different method of following my tutorial, that's fine as well. What we're going to do is we're going to delete everything up to so we're going to keep surface trim 47, but we're going to delete everything underneath that one. Delete, and I select yes to all. Continue, ignore error, and then yeah, let's just delete as much these areas here. Delete these sketches as well. Yes to all. Continue, ignore error, and then delete a 3D sketch 178, and then delete this 3D sketch 189, right? And then that's it. So we're not going to delete anything anymore. So basically we are ended up almost where we started the last tutorial, but fixing issues and fixing surfaces is part of surface design. Yeah, we're learning as we go. So I'm going to jump here to appearances, and I'm going to take off this blue appearance here, so just so we can see a little bit better. Okay, and the first thing I want to do is I want to get this line here. Okay, so let's come in here, and then let's grab a 3D sketch, 3D spline, and I want to grab this line here from this point, and then I'm just gonna pull it out to actually no, actually that's not what we're going to do. Sorry about that. Exit the sketch. Okay, so the first thing we need to do, we need to create on the display state 1. All right, so let's make a sketch on the top plane here, and then I want to grab this line here, and I'm gonna bring it all the way down to about here to that point, so we can give it a nice profile. So I'm going to pull it just to somewhere here. Actually, maybe I'm going to pull it back in here. Let's just do it one more time. Okay, so spline, I'm gonna come from here, and I'm gonna come all the way down here, and I'm gonna give this line a profile that curves out like that much, so okay. And then I'm going to exit here, and let's make a sketch on the front plane normal to profile, and then we're going to convert this edge here, okay, and we're going to offset this edge, and let's take 3 millimeters on the offset. So 4 would be uh, probably too much, so let's just use 3 here, okay, and then press OK on that, and then we're going to cut the first line, so we're going to keep this line here, right? And then from this point, exit the sketch. I want to make a projected curve from this line, and it's going to be sketch on sketch. All right. Okay, so now I can grab this line here. I can go to 3D sketch, and I can grab this line here. Make sure you click on the black dot. I'm just going to click anywhere on this line here. All right, and then let's come to the front plane. I'm just gonna pull this line out to about here. Something like that. And anyways, I'm going to give this tangency on this curvature, and I want to give tangency to the face of the window on that curvature, right? Or delete, clear selections. Let's see if I add tangency with this one here, and then add tangency with this line and this line here. Okay, so that curvature should be extremely tangent here now. And then let's just come into this line here and pull this down a little bit, so we're kind of following the line, and then we are pretty straight on this area here, and we will still have some room to create that surface area there. So we have enough room to come in with that little bit of surface underneath that area. We're gonna be able to create this surface here. All right, so so that looks good. And then exit the sketch, and then let's jump to the top view here, and I'm gonna grab another spline, and I'm gonna snip somewhere here and then here, and I'm gonna pull this point all the way to the edge of that projected curve, and I'm going to add tangency between this line and this line here. And I just want to make sure that I'm straight with that curvature as much as possible. So that's probably that straightness right there. So let's have a look from the side here. So we look pretty straight on that one as well. Okay, so that looks good. All right, so we're going to need another curvature here. So let's exit these sketches here. All right, and let's grab an independent 3D spline here. And of course, I'm gonna come from this point here to somewhere. So not here, somewhere about here. I'm going to press spacebar to jump to the top, and then this line here kind of following that line there. Of course, we're going to trim that out, but we're going to follow that line just to make sure that we're following curvatures here. Okay, so that looks good. And then maybe we can add a tangency with the spline here. And tangency, we added the tangency, that looks good. And then let's jump to the side view here. And then we did create the tangency. So next thing to do is we're going to grab the handlebar, and then we're just gonna pull it in until we have that we achieve that curvature here. And then we are, and that's curving down nicely all the way on this edge here. You can pull it down a little bit more, and that completes that section here perfectly. Okay, so let's have a look from the top again. And we're looking good from the top here. And we're going to exit this sketch. Okay, and then let's grab another 3D sketch, a 3D spline, and we're just gonna come from this point here all the way up to this point here. And then let's jump into our surfaces, and let's do a boundary surface from this point to that line. Our target been selected. So let's jump to the pin connector and flip these connectors. And for direction to, let's choose these lines here. If you don't want to select it, then select Selection Manager, select the line, and press OK, and then it selects the line. Let's add tangency to face on this connection point here. Okay. So, right. So let's see this surface from the top here. And that surface looks good from the top. And let's have a look at from the side. And of course, this looks good from the side. Okay. So the next surface we want to do is actually, first we're going to make a sketch on the front plane here. And normal to profile. And we're going to grab a center line here from about this point here. And then I'm going to pull that, pull that straight. And then exit the sketch. And then I'm going to drop a plane onto that line here. Right about there. Okay, so once we have that plane, we can maybe, well, keep this line for now. We can make a sketch on that plane. Normal to profile. And we're going to convert this edge here, right? So let's convert this edge here. And we're going to offset this sketch here, reverse offset. And we want to reverse it by 3.91, maybe just 90, 3.90, and then I'll press OK. So now, well, it reversed to the outside, right? Let's come to the back here quickly. So let's do that again. Let's come back to the sketch. And let's do an offset entities, and we want to reverse that to the inwards, right? So 3.9 millimeter. All right, and we're going to snip out the outside one, right? So now that sketch should be underneath that surface. If it's not, we can still pull it in a little bit more. So let's create that surface and see if that's underneath that surface, because it needs to be underneath a bit underneath that surface there, but I think it's not. But we can move that sketch inwards still. So let's go to surfaces here, exit the sketch. And let's do a boundary on these two sketches here, right? And we're going to add tangency on this side, of course. Direction vector. Oh, with tangency to face. So once the other surface greens out, then you know, highlights green, then you know that it's registered as a tangency. So press OK. Let's have a look at that surface here. So we need to get it a bit more underneath this surface here. So let's click on that and then edit the sketch. And then let's jump to the back here. And we're just gonna pull it in a little bit more. About that much. That's okay. And that will update our surface. Now that's underneath that surface there. So let's have a look at the picture here quickly. So what we aim to accomplish here is to create this triangle surface here. That's a very important surface here that really gives away a lot of the shape of the car, that small tiny triangle, believe it or not. So the way I'm looking at it is that this surface here goes underneath, but maybe not that much. So let's come back in here into the surface because we're way underneath it, and then add the sketch again. So click on the surface, grab that sketch, and then just come back here again, normal to profile, and let's just pull it out a little bit more, somewhere about there. And then exit the sketch. And that's exactly what we wanted. So just a little bit there. That should be perfect for what we aim to accomplish here. Still might be a little bit too much, but we're going to see it in when we get to that part. All right, so let's jump to the front plane here, make a sketch, normal to profile. And we want to grab the blue glass and drop it onto this surface here. Okay, so we can see through it. And then let's grab a spline, and we're gonna go from this point here, and then we can snip to this point, no problem. And then let's give this line a nice profile. Try to pull it down until it really touches that edge there. That it almost, yeah. And then we can add a little bit, take a little bit back here. Okay, and then let's grab another spline, and then we're gonna go from this point here, and we're gonna go from up to this point. And so this is the most important section here. We're gonna come to this point, and from this point we're gonna let that go and grab another spline and come to this point there. Okay, and then of course we can move this whole sections about, and then we can just edit the way we want it. And of course, we're gonna give this a little bit of profile, just to a little bit curvy here, and a little bit of tiny profile on these sections here. Let's have a look at the picture here. So that looks good. Okay, and then one more thing I want to do is I want to grab a line, and I just want to grab that line and come all the way up straight. Okay, so jump to surfaces now and trim surface, and we're going to trim out these corners here, and that's trimmed out. Okay, and then we can have a look again. It's underneath that surface which we want. Okay, so the next surface we're going to do is we're going to grab this curvature here. So 3D sketch, spline, and then we're gonna come from we're gonna come from somewhere about here and all the way up to this point. And let's just give this a profile in this direction, and then we're going to give a nice profile from this direction here. So we're not going to add any sharpness to it because we don't need to. So just we're going to pull it down to about here. And we don't want to be lower as well, of course. And then let's jump back to the top view here and make sure that our line is click on top and normal to profile, and just make sure that this line is correct here. We can jump back here. And it's maybe a little bit, I think that should be all right. Let's just double check again from the top. And that should be it. Okay. And then we're going to exit the sketch and jump into second display state. And then here, just want to make sure that we are looking good. Maybe there's a little bit of bulge out here, which is not very good, and we can fix that. So let's jump to the back here. Edit sketch, and let's take off this here, like so. We don't want to be lower than that surface there, obvious reasons, and just something like that. And let me check if our curvature is still correct. We are good. Okay. And exit the sketch here. And then let's hide this plane here. It's in the way. And then for this surface, we're going to make a bunch of 3D curves. So 3D curves. And then from here, just follow that edge. All the way to this corner here. And then another 3D curve. All the way down on this edge here. Yeah, so one thing I want to let you know that I don't know how it is in your PC, but in my PC, for some reason, my GPU was disabled. So now I enabled my GPU, and then my PC is a lot more faster with the complex design. So if you don't know how to enable your GPU, I can show you here real quick. So you can just go to search bar here, and then search for device manager. And once device manager comes up, you can come down to display adapters, and then in here you can with the right click you can disable or enable your GPU if your GPU is not enabled, but if you do have a GPU, but if you is not seeing it. Also, if your GPU card is not showing up in the device manager, you go to view and you just click on show hidden devices, and that will bring up your GPU card, and then from there you can enable it here. All right, so that's that. So now that we created all these sketches here, let's jump to our surfaces, and let's create a fill surface here with these surfaces here. We don't need to add any tangency on this surface. So let's have a look at the fluidity of the surface. That's exactly the surface we're looking for. It's nice and fluid all the way throughout. All right. So the next thing we want to do here is jump to the top, and then let's grab another 3D sketch here, spline, and we're gonna come from this corner here straight down to this edge. Okay. And then we're not going to add tangency anywhere on this line here. Just gonna keep it as a straight line. Okay. So we want to add another 3D sketch here. Another curvature from here to this corner here. And then we're not going to add any tangency to this curvature either. Although we can try. So press the line, press the face, tangency, and that would create quite a bit of tangency for us. Yeah. So let's not add that tangency on that one. So Control Z for now. And if we want, we can come back and add that tangency if the surface is not coming out the way we want. Okay, so exit the sketch. And then let's jump to surfaces, boundary surface. Then we're gonna go from this line and selection manager, just this line here. Press OK. And for direction 2, we're going to choose this line here. Okay, so let's exit that. Let's edit the sketch here, edit sketch, and then let's cut this line here. And that has to be an individual line. So let's come to sketch, 3D sketch, spline, and we're gonna come from this corner, the inside corner, and exit the sketch. Let's go surfaces now, boundary, and then select this line and this line here. And for direction 2, we're going to use the edge of the car, and then we're going to choose this line here. And now it registers. That's perfect. And then we don't need to add tangency here and anywhere else on this surface. So press OK. So we still have our fluidity all the way through. That's good. That's looking good there as well. All right. So the next sketch that we're going to add is going to be in the first display state, and click on the front plane normal to profile. And then if you look at the picture, we can see that flat surface, flat surface is somewhere in halfway through this triangle here, and that starts the cut in here. All right, so let's do that. Let's add a curvature here. Of course, we want a 3D curvature. So sketch 3D curvature, 3D spline. I'm gonna go from this edge to this edge. And it's going to be a straight line. We don't want any coincident relationship in that area there. So pull that straight. And then we can adjust here kind of where we want it. Okay, so that's touching that side is good. And this touching this side as well is good. And now that moves perfectly. So it's somewhere halfway throughout, somewhere about here. And if you're not happy with that, we can always change it, of course. Let's have a look at the picture again. Right, so we got all about that much. A little bit forward, and then it comes in. And Control Z to get that out. Okay, so jump to second display state here. And then hopefully we can create this magic here. So so the first surface we're going to try to add here is going to be surface, boundary surface. Let's click this line here, this edge, and then this edge here. Of course, let's flip these connectors. And then we're going to pull this line up. And we're just gonna look how things are here. And then if we're going to pull this pink line somewhat perpendicular with this line here. And that's looking good there. And I'm going to press OK. We're not adding any tangency to this surface. We want that to be sharp. And then I'm gonna go jump into sketch, 3D sketch, and I'm going to grab a spline. And I want to make sure that I'm snipping on this corner here and this line here. Jump back to the side view. And maybe bring up the first display state so we can align this sketch here. It should be something like that. Let's have a look at the picture again. And that's coming down something like that. And we add a little bit of profile to that curvature. Something like that. Okay. And exit the sketch. And let's come in here. Let's hide this line for now. One sec. All right, so let's try and create a field surface from these lines here. Surfaces, field surface. So let's choose this line here. And then this line here is this edge. Field surface, let's choose this edge. Okay, so yeah, so sketch, 3D sketch, spline. And then let's grab that line somewhere here. And let's take off the appearance. Remove appearance. Alright, so let's try field surface now. Fill surface. Oh, that's not going to do it. So what we're going to do is come to sketch here, 3D sketch, 3D spline, and then we're going to grab from this line here, and we're gonna stay all the way on that edge. All the way to this black dot here, so I'll stay in the edge, in that black dot. Another spline from this point here, and make sure you go through that point here. So don't click in the middle of that section there. So things stays nice and fluid. So a few more clicks here. The point, and then maybe one more here. Let's try and add our fill surface now. Surface is fill surface that registered those lines there, and then these two lines here, and that added our surface right there. So let's have a look at that. Right. Let's bring back that sketch that we had, the 3D sketch. It was this one here. So we want this here to show. What else? I want this here to. We don't need that to show. Okay, let's try fill surface from these couple profiles here. No, that's not gonna do it. So let's go over to sketch, 3D sketch, 3D spline. To that point, and then let's grab another spline. To that point there, and exit the sketch. And let's try and add our fill surface. That looks good. Okay, hide this line here, and let's add fill surface to this area here. So I won't do it. So we're gonna have to do the 3D sketch again. Spline. Up to that point here. And another spline. Up to this point here. And then let's do a few more splines here. And then one more here. Okay, so exit the sketch here and add our fill surface. Alright, so that's looking a lot better now. And then let's take off these lines here. And then basically this corner here, I wanted that to be a little bit sharper in the fall in. And let's jump over to the second display state. And then copy this appearance, add to this window, paste appearance. and hide this line. Let's look at the picture again. Right, so that line needs to be a bit deeper inside, actually. So let's delete that. And then let's delete these sketches. And let's try a boundary surface here. This line to that line. Lip connectors. Lip connectors. And let's select these edges here. And we don't want to add any tangency. Looks the same as the other one. We do have that area there. So all we really need to do is move this line a little bit back. About here. And that will create us a little bit of a more of a sharp edge in that area. However, I want to do a little bit better than that. So edit that sketch. And I'm going to come from the back view here. I'm going to grab a line here and somewhere halfway like that. I'm going to cut this one here. Let's see if this does anything. Continue error. All right, let's have a look at the surface now. Right, okay, so let's go back on this area here with Control Z. One more time. One more time. And then now we have that like it was. Let's exit that sketch. So yeah, I want this to be a bit more sharper actually. Right. So let's try something else. Edit sketch. And because it's a spline, we can edit it. I just did something else actually. So let's add a spline point somewhere in the middle. Okay, click somewhere in empty space. And then let's find these handlebars. Control Z. And let's add some control polygons on that. All right, so maybe add another control polygon, I mean spline point here, and another one here. I'm gonna add the point. Okay, and then let's bring up these points here. And let's bring them somewhat close to each other so it creates a sharp edge here. So exit the sketch. And yeah, that is not the surface we want, right? Okay, so let's do a Control Z. Control Z, make that line straight back up. And exit the sketch. All right, and then what we need to do is find that line, the window line here. That's the window line there. And then our sketch is boundary surface. So that's our line there. And we're going to edit this line. And we're going to bring this a little bit more in, right? Just a little bit to about here. And hopefully this will create that edge that we're looking for. And then, yes, that definitely creates that sharpness there that we were looking for all along. So let's have a look at the picture. Maybe that's a bit too much. So we can take off a little bit from that line, bring it a little bit out because I'm still not happy with it. Let's find that line, and that's the line here. Edit the sketch. And then, of course, let's jump to the back here. And let's just bring it a little bit back out here, like that. So maybe that will solve, that will make me happy and make you happy as well. Exit the sketch. Let's have a look now. So that's it. So that's the surface. So basically, that's the surface that we've been looking for all along. And then, of course, we can mirror this surface out over to the other end. And then we're going to leave this tutorial at here at this point. And remember, if you just oh, there's one more thing we can do actually with that, and we will as well. Let's mirror this whole surfaces out over to the other end quickly. So mirror that, and then our front plane, bodies to mirror, and let's get this whole things over. And then what else we got? We got this one here as well. And then we got that small window, and then we have a small surface in here as well. Okay. And then press OK. Alright, so it's starting to look like a car, finally. And then let's hide this line here. And then let's hide this line here. Alright. And then we will probably add tangency in this area here. So let's go to surfaces, clean surface, and we're going to knit these two surfaces together here. This surface, and this surface, and this surface here. Press OK. We could do that before and then mirror it over, but let's just do it this way now. And let's go to fillets and then normal fillets. And of course, 10mm might be too much for us, but let's have a look. That will look good once we finish with the car. So we're not going to add these fillets here yet because we still got work with the car. So that will cause us problems, as you can see. So let's finish all the surfaces, and then we can fine tune everything, and then we add the fillets and everything that's needed. So let's delete these fillets here. Okay, we can keep the knit for now. And then let's jump over to our second display state. And let's just have a look things from the top here. And we're looking good from the top. All right. So let's jump to the second display state. And there's one more thing we can do here is create this small roof section here. And for that, we're just going to grab a, well, we're not going to just make it the line all the way across, although we could, but the better way to do it is grab the center line here. Let's see how much time we still have. We still have time. Okay, so let's jump to future tree, and then front plane, make a sketch on that front plane. Actually, no. We're gonna jump into 3D sketch, and then with the 3D spline, and we're gonna get that center middle line here. Okay, and align the car somewhere in this area here, and just pull it up to here. Let that go, and then we want to get a complete straight side view here, and then I want to add tangency with this edge and then with the spline. Tangency, and we're gonna pull that down in a minute. So jump over to our first display state, and what we're looking for is this section here. And that looks pretty tangent with everything else here. Maybe we can pull it down a little bit more, and then we are much more closer. And then with that, we'll obviously pull that a little bit in, pull that up, and then pull the line down. So basically, we're setting up our surfaces beforehand, right? All right, so that looks good to me. I mean, it's not much we can do. It's already tangent with this line here. So exit the sketch. And then we're going to jump over our second display state. We have a line there. Of course, jump back to first display state, guys, and then I'll make a sketch on the top plane. There's one thing I have to say. If you are just tuning into my channel, don't forget to subscribe. I would highly appreciate that. I'm not asking you to share it, but you can if you want. And then yeah, that's all. So if you can subscribe, that's you can always catch up my latest models. So after this model, you know, you will get the notifications. So let's make that spline from here to here. Of course, you want to get onto the line there, and then let's straight like this. I don't need to fix that. Maybe if we can pull it a bit more straight there. Okay, so it is a lot more straight now. And maybe we can pull it down to about here. Okay, and then we're just going to, oh, unfortunately it snipped to that bottom section. So let's delete that. Coincident relationship there. Or instead, let's delete the line. Let's do it over. Jump to the top. And let's grab that 3D spline again, and then just go from this edge and be straight. Oh yeah, Control Z. So that's why it's good to have two displays. So let's just drop it here, and then we align it just to make sure that you're not snipping to the bottom there. So let's go from this edge to this line here. So now that we know we're on top on that line, let's jump in here and align this sketch. We don't need to add that coincident there. And that's a straight line. So that's a good spot as well. So let's jump to the side view, the rear view here. Motor profile. And what I want to do is I want to add this handlebar a fix along Z, the Z axis, and I want to add tangency with this face and this line. and maybe that tangency is not going to work, so let's remove that tangency on this area here, and we're just gonna stay with that straight section there. Alright, so let's move to second display state, and then we can just do a field surface or a boundary surface. Let's do a boundary surface, and let's go from this line to this line here, and for direction to, let's choose this edge and this line here. Of course, we can pull these lines back. We have to. And no, we don't need to add anything on now yet. Let's pull these nodes out so we can see. And then let's zoom in and get to these points. Perfect, nice registered. And then we're just going to add tangency to face in this area here. If it's not registered, then click on direction to vector, and then tangency to face. And now we are tangent on that surface. So press OK. And that surface looks very fluid. And let's just mirror it over to the other end, and then this is this. It's going to be the end of this tutorial. So front plane, bodies to mirror is going to be this small block there. And then we're looking good. Alright guys, thank you very much for staying me for this 1 hour tutorial of fixing this area up here in this section. In the next tutorial, we're further going to work on these back sections here, or possibly be going to cut out this cutout areas on the roof, and then move to the back sections in this area when we finally will get to the back areas and the backlights and everything. All right, thank you very much.